It's like something part of me died whenever I moved back up here. It's gotten to the point now where I have dreams of coming back to Kentucky damn near every night. It's like I can just about taste it. It's like I can almost feel the humidity coming through my nostrils.
I thought that Virtual Kev was the most off-the-wall nuts idea. I was like, oh my gosh, he's went off the deep end now. But the more he started talking about it, started developing it in his head, and it sounded, doable. I remember him saying, you have to be on board, because if you're not on board, it's pointless. I'm not going to do it, How bad do you want to get down here? How bad are you willing to let people get involved to help you get back down here? That's basically what he said. And I said, okay, man, I'm on board.
The Virtual Kevin project really came around because, Kevin absolutely 100% fell in love with the state of Kentucky when he was out there.
Kevin wants to move to Kentucky, and he wants to meet people in Kentucky. And the whole project is sort of hopefully going to allow him the means to move to Kentucky.
We're going to try to recreate the persona of Kevin without actually having his presence here. And just see how people react to it and see how close they can actually get to Kevin without actually ever meeting.
What is it that makes people believe that you're real? The thing we came up with is people agree that you're real to them if they can see you, they can talk to you, and they can hear you. So we started thinking, is there a way that we could take and make maybe a cutout of Kevin and take a cellular connection and split it out into like a microphone and an external speaker? If we did that, then we would basically have a cutout of Kevin that could walk around and talk to people. They could talk to him, he could talk to them, and it would break down this concept of distance, because he was 3,000 miles away. And we started to ask ourselves, in that situation, would it be possible to really break down the distance barrier with the technology that's available today? When we were all said and done, we theorized that people would associate the virtual Kevin walking around Kentucky with the real Kevin. And even though he couldn't live in Kentucky right now, maybe his avatar, if you will, would be able to go around, make friends, go out on dates, go to job interviews, for example. Because, he couldn't afford to move out to Kentucky and look for work. But if he could go through and maybe get a job before he got there, have his avatar go to the job for him, what would happen? We theorized that he would be able to be accepted as being real, even though his body wasn't necessarily there. As we made him, and we actually made him full size and able to roll around on wheels and whatnot, we started to also have the question of how do people deal with people who are different? Kevin's only real disability at this point was the fact that he wasn't physically at a place. I mean, he could talk to people, could hear them, they could see him and all that. His only disability was he just wasn't physically there. That would change as soon as he could afford to move. He just really felt that this was something we should do. I've been friends with Kevin like 13 or 14 years, and he is a very, very special individual.
Kevin's a 400-pound teddy bear. He's one of the actual sweetest people you will ever meet. Puts his heart into everything.
He makes friends insanely quickly because he has no guile. I mean, most people hide their secrets. You know, they don't let other people know about them until they know them really, really well. Kevin will tell somebody he just met at a bus stop his darkest secrets. Because he has no guile, people want to protect him.
He's one of the easiest people you'd ever want to get to know. Becomes a friend really fast. He simply has a trusting heart and a trusting nature. And there's no false pretense. What you see is what you get.
Kevin is, he's an honest person. He'll go the extra mile for anyone.
Kevin is loving. He cares about people. He's very sympathetic and knows how to be strong. And overall, Kevin is a great, well-rounded gentleman.
Kevin's best quality, just generosity of heart and spirit. Though he doesn't have anything, barely even the clothes on his back, if anybody needed it, he'd give it to him. Wouldn't even think about it.
He can talk with virtually anybody about virtually anything. Some things he doesn't know a whole lot about, but he's so interested in people, and I think that's another thing about Kevin.
It's kind of fun talking to Kevin. I don't know how else to say that, but it is, you know? It's entertaining.
As far as gifts, I think the biggest gift Kevin has is his ability to befriend people and just be honorable and loyal to them.
What I like the most about Kevin is that no matter what the circumstances, he's always smiling. He's always very friendly with me, asks me how I'm doing, how my life is, how my work is.
As far as once he befriends you, which he'll do in a heartbeat, he'll lay down his life for you. He'll give you his shirt off his back. He'll drive you places. If Kevin has money in his wallet, he'll try to pay for stuff for you just when you're with him. And he may not have any more money coming in, but what he has is what you have. And, I mean, it's hard to find anyone more generous either. The vodka story is actually hilarious. I was going to, it was basically when I had first started college. I'd left high school early. I was in a psych class, and I had just read the story about how one major university had published findings in which they had found that drunkenness, inebriation due to alcohol consumption, was a lot of times a psychological effect.
Jeremy did some research on psychology and alcohol and how they are how they're related and how they could be very volatile at any given time.
Being an experimentalist, we'll say, I decided to have some fun with Kevin. My family had always had different, drink mixers at our house. Though my parents were teetotalers, they had, margarita mixes, Bloody Mary mixes, things of that nature, just because they liked mixing it with, Sprite and things like that. We were probably 16, 17, whatever. And I give him a buzz. I'm like, dude, I've got 2 bottles of vodka at my place. He doesn't even question. He just blatantly believes me. Why I would have 2 bottles of vodka? Absolutely unknown. But he says, hey, sure, I'll come over. I'll make mixed drinks. He's like, that's awesome. So I proceeded to ply him with margarita after margarita of using a special lime juice concoction that had been mixed in with the margarita mix.
We mixed water, lemon juice, chili powder, and paprika together and told him that it was some highfalutin, expensive drink.
He had me convinced I was drinking the real stuff.
By the 4th one, he was hammered.
He was smashed.
Slammed.
I was just downing the stuff like crazy.
Of course, I was serving 32-ounce margaritas. Dude's dancing around. Now, I'm taking care of my kid's sister. And she's supposed to be in a room, but for some reason she decides to come out right as Kevin has started humping the television set. I'm like, Amanda, go back to your room. Kevin, stop humping the television set.
I went outside and it was like, I started taking off my shirt.
I believe it was like January. Snow is on the ground.
He's just like, Kevin, what are you doing? I'm just like, I'm drunk, man. I'm gonna start taking off my shirt. I'm hot.
I explained to him that he should not do that.
No, you idiot. My little sister's here. Put back on your shirt.
Kevin, you haven't drunk anything. He's like, what? I'm like, Kevin, it's a psychology experiment. You haven't drunk any alcohol. But, no alcohol at all. Oh. And it was as quick as that he sobered up.
It taught me a lesson. Don't drink. It's bad.
I'm desperate to get back because I can feel myself dying. Mentally, emotionally, and maybe, a little bit physically, too.
The respect is never given, so I'm living this life. 9 to 5 through the day, I'm writing these lyrics all night. I ain't slept in years, not even a single nap. I ain't even hit the pitch, not even a single lap. I just run off the fire that's fueled with doubt and speculation. These voices in my head that teach me to quit facing the world that y'all built with walls to trap me. Cause you were scared of the poisoning words that raps be. Y'all slap me in my face with taunts to my ego, wanting me to be Leonard and be the first dead Beatle. I go gladly so my peeps could have a pot to piss in. Crucify me all you want as long as someone listens. Y'all wishing on these stores, I'm wishing on these boards and sets of 16. My flows is my dreams, all set for the scenes in this movie we all live in. I'm more driven, but this game's unforgiving. Y'all don't love me for anything I do in this game. You never loved me. The only gift given was pain. You used to fuck me, then I started spitting these flames. And now you dug me, thinking that I'm finna take aim. It was all you, had me done thinking it's all me. I tried to call you, had me done doubting.
I don't like Yakima because I have a past that a lot of people don't know about. I potentially could have been in a lot of trouble a couple years ago. I could have done time for assault, and of course it was completely false and everything. And I just want to get out of an area that potentially, could have sent me up the creek without a paddle. I want to get myself out of that environment. I want to get into a positive, forward motion environment, not reverse and all backwards.
I'm thankful for the fact that I just got my turn to sign these papers. Fuck these haters, these bitches, they catch the vapors. Cause now I'm fucking these tracks, and these suckers is masturbators. Y'all don't love me, you just a victim of your fears. I seen that shit for years, fucking crocodile tears. Y'all don't love me for anything I do in this game. You never loved me, the only gift given was pain. You used to fuck me, then I started spitting these flames. And now you dug me, thinking that I'm finna take aim. It was all you, had me done thinking.
I grew up in Yakima, since I was, 13. And I love Washington State, I'll be honest. Kentucky is beautiful, it really is. It's not my personal cup of tea. I love Washington State. But the thing about it is, Yakima is probably one of the more depressed areas of Washington. It's desert.
Yakima's climate, in the winter it's very cold, in the summer it's very hot.
It is very dry. Average temperature during the summer is often 100 to 120 degrees.
Do we get a lot of rain? No. Maybe 7 inches total in 1 year.
The area around Yakima actually gets less rain than the Sahara Desert.
Yakima, yes. Now, some would say that, it's Dullsville.
Boring for anyone under the age of 30.
But for someone my age, it's a great place to live.
There's nothing to do.
We have a wonderful Yakima Symphony. We've got off-Broadway shows that come here.
Unless you're over 21, then you can go to the bars.
They have a farmer's market, concerts in the park, and one of the big things now that's coming up and growing is the wine industry in Yakima.
But otherwise, there's really absolutely nothing here, except that it is a really good place to raise a young family.
There is some industry coming in.
And there aren't many things happening as far as job opportunities.
It's economically dead.
It is growing.
Yakima refuses to grow.
Desolate, depressing.
All around just dead.
It's a secure place.
Crime-ridden, infested with disease.
It has a lot of opportunities.
The job that I'm at right now took me 6 months to find.
There are new housing developments.
It's dirty, it's old, it's broken down. Nasty, nobody takes care of anything.
I think Yakima is a lovely place to live.
No, Yakima is not the right fit for Kevin. Kevin has been other places, and he's had a lot of fun, you know, and he somehow ends up being sucked back to Yakima, and he doesn't like it. He just doesn't like Yakima.
A lot of people say, well, this is where I was born, this is where I was raised, and this is all I want, you know. Well, that's fine. I don't want to settle for, you know, what you have, you know. Not that that's wrong or anything, but I just want to go out and have my own life, you know.
It's not that this isn't a good place for many people. It's just the fact that it is. It's an arid desert town that doesn't have much happening in the way of jobs for someone who really wants to grow out and about. He doesn't want to be someone who just dies in the same hometown that his parents have and his grandparents did. You know, he wants to go out and live in another place. And Kentucky is the place that just really fired him up. And he's lived in Indiana, he's lived in Seattle, he's lived in other places. But that's the place that fires him up. That's the place that gets him excited. And that's the thing, that's the reason I think him moving to Kentucky is what he needs to do. That's what's going to make him happy and really open the next chapter of his life.
My best friend went to college down there, and he was on my case for about 3 years. Dude, he's just like, man, you gotta come down here. Just try it for a couple of weeks. In fact, I'll tell you what, try it out for a month. You can stay with me. I'll put you up for a month. We'll look for work for you, and if you like it, you can stay. So I was just like, oh, okay. I went down there, and within probably a week or two, I absolutely fell in love with it, and I stayed for 14 months or so. It's just the natural beauty down there. I mean, summer, it's hot and humid, but it's always green. The fall, the beautiful colors are just outstanding. You know, wintertime, it gets god-awful cold, but, you know, it's there. Even though it's cold and frozen, there's still beauty that just blows me away. People down there are real. They aren't fake. Even something as trivial as their accent, they're still proud of it. They're going to treat it just like the guy across town that has like the $500,000 house and sports car stuff. They're real. They accept. They're happy for what they have. They're grateful. They're proud of their common roots. You know, whether it be just a hard-working guy on a road crew, or if it's a pencil pusher up in the office. It's just good down-home people that I like down there. Their value system and moral values are a lot higher than what I've lived and what I've seen up here. I want to move to Kentucky because I love it there. I lived there for 14 months, and it was a part of me that I was probably born with that I didn't actually you know, that I'd never experienced until I actually moved down there, and it was a part of me that was in my soul that was released once I got down there. It's just a whole different way of life. It's laid back, low-key, just like me. People are friendly down there. It's just something that I want to do, that I want to get back to. Whenever I first got home, all I could think about was Kentucky. You know, God, I got to figure out a way to get back down there. And I was slowly driving myself and the people around me nuts. So once I figured it out, just to put it back on the shelf, put it in the box, put it back on the shelf, and in time it would work out. It will if it was supposed to happen, and right now, very strong possibility it could happen. That's where I want to hang my hat. That's where I want to be, is down there.
The thing I miss most about Kentucky, wow, I can't put into words the emotions that I feel whenever I think about Kentucky. It's like whenever you fall in love for the first time, and you're around that girl, you know, and the smell of her perfume just like slams you, you know, and like she's there, like sitting on the couch watching TV with you, and like you watch her, you know, and you just every little thing she does, you're just like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. You know, like, even if she sneezes like a little church mouse sneeze, you're, oh my gosh, that was so cute. You know? Whenever you're being reunited with your first love and all those feelings just start bubbling up again, that's what I'm feeling right now. Biggest thing is this was like 3,000 miles away from home. You know, and even though my family lives up here in the Northwest and everything, the Northwest isn't my home anymore. It's Kentucky.
The Virtual Kevin project really came around because, well, Kevin absolutely 100% fell in love with the state of Kentucky when he was out there. Every time I talked to him, he'd always be talking about how he loved Kentucky. I was like, there's got to be something I can do to help him out with it. Well, what if I made him a DVD of, you know, all his friends in Kentucky and some of the countryside? So I would go around with this camcorder and I tell people to talk to the camcorder like it's Kevin. And as I did that, I noticed that we kind of started breaking down some of the barriers that exist. It was almost like for a minute, it was sort of like Kevin was really there.
We were talking about commissioned and how the production process was going. I mentioned something, you know, it'd be cool to make something about me. Everything went silent for a few seconds. You're like, oh my word, I've got it. This is so crazy, but I've got it.
Jeremy and I were sitting around one night playing video games, talking about movies and talking about our philosophy of what we'd like to see in movies. And he just kind of popped into his head, hey, wouldn't it be great if? And it just kind of grew from there. I don't recall specifically what it was that caused it to pop into his head, but I do know that he really has a strong friendship with Kevin and has desired to see him succeed, and I think part of it just grew out of his friendship with Kevin.
When Jeremy came to me with the idea, of course my mind immediately went to technical issues, like how in the world are we going to get our cell phone connection from Seattle to Kentucky to be reliable. We just sat and brainstormed for I don't even know how many hours about it. And he had to explain to me exactly what the goals were more than once for me, cause for me to be able to come up with some sort of a technical scheme that would actually work.
feel like I'm RoboCop. Hello, Virtual Kevin.
I'm Jay Kerr, and I have done various number of things on the Virtual Kevin project, including building the Virtual Kevin, portraying myself, of course, and just kind of playing advisor and assistant to Jeremy whenever possible, as much as he needed.
My name is John Howard, and I'm the Chief Audio Engineer of the Virtual Kevin Theory. And what that means is that I basically teach the operators of Virtual Kevin how to run the sound and make sure that we're getting good audio, because the idea is that one camera person slash operator, anyway, but one person can run the thing. I also aided in the technical construction of the Virtual Kevin, and am responsible for all of the location recording in Washington as well.
Okay, Kevin, what we're doing here is we're testing out the setup here, and you're here with your technical crew. Think RoboCop, right, when RoboCop gets awakened.
I know, I'm not the sharpest crayon in the brightest crayon in the pack here, but come on, dude.
Now, is there any way to plug in the antenna?
Wow, that sucks. Okay. Okay, we need to stop doing that.
Stop doing what? Making you hum and beep? We're fine.
I'm excited and my heart's beating really fast. Either that or either a heart attack setting in.
What?
Dang it.
Okay, we're working on it.
Yeah, I'm awake
Don't
now.
worry.
Woo, Millie.
Yeah, okay, we're working on it, Kevin. Don't worry. Yeah, who knows how much great stuff we're getting for the actual video that Justin can edit together here. Yes, it's all part of the emergency alert system. Thank you for playing.
Can you hear me now?
God help us get this all fixed.
Should I hang on? More seconds.
Well, you will be happy to know, Kevin, you're wearing a red shirt as you love to do, and blue jeans.
I'm still a rabbit caught in a cage.
Can you hear me?
Despite all my rage, I'm
getting
still
worse.
a rabbit caught in a cage.
Now it's getting better. Worse, better, worse. Sorry.
Didn't do it at all a second ago when I called.
Okay, I'm hanging up now.
No.
Hey Kevin, how you doing?
Pretty good, Ronnie. How about yourself?
I'm doing well for an old man.
That's good. How's the tobacco going?
It's doing pretty well. It's an awfully wet year, but other than that, it's doing okay.
Well, that's good.
It's not as much fun as it used to be, though, I'll tell you.
When I get back down there, I want you to teach me everything you know about tobacco farming, and I would like to see if I could lease maybe a couple of acres and see if I could make a run at it.
Okay, we'll do that.
That'd be really fun.
That'd be good.
So, besides the farm, what else have you been up to?
Oh, I've been doing some work for the Forest Service on bug identification. Water
Okay.
bugs.
The forest fires up here in the west have just been really really nasty this summer.
I've noticed
And,
on the TV about the dryness out there. We
Yeah.
had all your water.
Yep,
Looks like
it's been pretty nice to have rain the past couple days. We're supposed to have some thunderstorms come through tonight, so hopefully there won't be any lightning up in those clouds. Maybe we can get lucky and it'll just start raining on us really hard. So.
Yeah.
We saw Eastern Washington was in the NCAA tournament, I think.
Yeah, they lasted for like a whole 2 games and they got kicked out. So.
Yeah, but I don't know how many we lasted, but it wasn't enough.
No, I was really disappointed too because in between the Gonzaga Bulldogs and Kentucky, I was in a little bit of a betting pool and I lost out, but it was still really good to. It was still really good to at least see Kentucky play. I really didn't get to see many games, because they just don't get a lot of coverage up here. But
yeah, I can't quite understand what the problem is because I would think everyone would want to see Kentucky play.
Oh yeah, in fact, we were talking about sports the other day, and I said, well, excluding football, I said I'm a true blue fan through and through, and they're like, what are you talking about? And I said, anything that has to do with UK, I said, I'm on it. I'm all over it. So they were just, I got a couple really bad looks and everything, but it was funny. So
Well, we're proud of you. You had a good influence on you. We should like to stop by this afternoon, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin, the door's open anytime you come out this way.
well, I hope to be down there knocking on your doorstep this coming spring. So that's what I'm shooting for, so I really hope I can get back down there really soon.
You, Kevin?
Dude, what's up?
Man, good stuff. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It was a good thing. Long time no see.
Yeah, it has been a long time. So where are you at now?
I'm up in Washington State, dude.
Washington State. That's where you're from, right?
Yep, that's where I'm from.
So what are you doing up there?
Just working, surviving.
Hey, that's cool.
Where
are you working at?
I'm working for a store that's comparable to your guys' tractor supply store down there. I work for a farm and ranch home and ranch and farm supplier, and just they're working me to the bone down there. But they're keeping me busy, and the pay's not too bad. So I really can't complain.
That's cool. Do you have some family up there?
Yeah, the majority of my family lives up here, but I have aunts and uncles that are scattered all over the country, but the core of my family lives up here, so, so how's things been going for you, man?
Oh, it's been going great. Still at UK, studying math.
Right on.
So it's good.
So, besides UK, what else are you doing?
Well, right now I'm at a picnic for international students.
Cool.
So, I'm excited about that. I helped out with the new international student orientation at UK.
Right on.
So I always love that. I always love talking to people from all different kinds of backgrounds. And yeah, so that was good. I taught a class at UK this summer.
Wow.
So
that's cool. Yeah, that'd be totally cool meeting people from different countries. I'm a people person anyway, and getting to know some of their culture, that would be awesome. That'd be so cool.
Do you have brothers and sisters up there? Or?
Yeah, I just have one brother, and he's 21.
Okay.
And he's currently on vacation. He went to go see his cousin for about a week. And my parents are on a little bit of a mini vacation, so I basically have the house to myself for the first part of the week.
Well, it's awesome talking with you, Kevin.
Okay, dude. Nice talking to you, Daniel. You have a good evening, okay?
You too, Kevin.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hey, bye.
Well, first off, the first time I went to Church of the Savior, Pastor Steve Pearson was like the first guy to make me feel welcome there. You know, that's kind of his job because he's a senior pastor. He wants everybody to feel comfortable so he can keep coming back. But he was genuine, and he introduced me to people that were genuine, and it's like my family away from my family down there. It's like it's one place where I know I'm accepted no matter who I am or what I was. They don't care about what I was back then. They only care about who I am now and what I will be in the future. So it's coming in good. Hey, it's Pastor Steve.
So good to see you.
Hey, Steve.
You have really muscled up. You're flat in the front.
Yeah.
Is this Pilates?
Oh man, you do not know how much time I've been doing Pilates. I mean, I'm just one mean fighting machine now.
I tell you.
How are you doing?
Doing great, Kevin. It's good to see you and hear you.
This is so cool. So it's the way this has come together, Steve, is totally awesome. Jeremy will have to give you the lowdown on it whenever he gets back down there. But God's brought us this far, and He's going to take us in the rest of the way. So, but it's really weird how you can go cross country and start with nothing but a mic, and you acquire a very expensive video camera to pull this thing off. So this is just totally a God thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I said they ought to mail you here, and I guess they mailed you. Here you are.
Yep.
Classy belt you have on too. Classy.
Well, that's cool because I have no idea what I'm clothed in right now. So
well, actually, you're wearing a ballet uniform. It's pink with orange stripes. The 4-4. Tutu. It's a 4-4. No, a tutu. Maybe a 6-6.
That's cool. Okay, since it's a uniform, do I have like any money in my pocket too?
Well, looks like your pockets are pretty flat too, there, Bucko.
Yeah. Well,
I'm a poor person. I'm not a poor college student. I'm just a poor person. So. Anyways, so how's things been going down there at the church? Is everything just fine and dandy?
Well, the Lord is good. Pastor Max is starting his church on Sunday.
Wow, fantastic.
Generations Church is going out with about 50 of our people. We're having a big party.
Wow.
And bye, granddaughters. Bye-bye. So it must be out there about 5:30?
Yeah, it's about 5:30 up there.
Now, what are you working there in Washington?
Yes, I'm working. I work.
What are you doing?
I am working at a home and ranch supply store.
You're doing what?
I work at a home and ranch store. I am head of the gardening department, as well as a backup person for our fencing lot. We sell all kinds of fencing materials and building supplies and that type of thing.
Well, you know, looking here at your hand, you do have a green thumb. Look, girls, you have a green thumb, see?
Oh, no, that's just a shadow.
Oh, I'm sorry, you got a shadow, not a green thumb.
Yeah.
Do you like your work?
Yeah, you have a green hand over here. Yeah.
Kevin, do you like your job?
Oh, yes, I love it. It's a really great job.
Well, Kevin, can I pray for you?
Oh, yeah, you can pray for me, most definitely.
Then I got to scoot for an appointment here in a minute. Let me pray for you. Father, I just thank you for your servant, Kevin, and how much we love him. We just ask that you order his steps and encourage him and strengthen him and let him know what you've got on your plate for him. Speak to him, Father, and help him and use him to touch a lot of lives. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Well, it's good to see you, and you would really look good on a flat screen.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. One more question. Whenever I get down there, Pastor Steve, can I be on the welcoming committee at the newcomers lunch after church?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting to refill that spot. So.
Well, my wife enjoys feeding you spaghetti. We'll keep you from being so flat.
Anyways, take it easy, Pastor Steve.
Take care. We'll see you later, buddy.
See you later.
Hey, Kevin. John Collins, man. How you doing?
Pretty good.
They really did a good job with your hair.
Yeah.
How far down does this go? Like for the picture, you know? Never mind. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah, the people who put me together did a fantastic job. So I saw some pictures that were emailed to me, and it kind of freaked me out for a second. So it was pretty cool.
Well, they shrunk your head, you know.
Yeah.
Covering your face.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned that my head's a little small, though, but you know, I can deal with that. That'll give me a little bit more room to have a little bit of an ego, I guess. I don't know, maybe a little big head syndrome, but.
Well, anyway. Yeah, this whole thing's posing a lot of questions about body image to me. This sort of disjointed ideas in my head, you know. I don't know. Well, it's good talking to you, man.
So, if I'm coming down there to Kentucky, I'm going to need a job and a car.
Remnants, ornaments, locked inside my mind. Cheap veneers, mask your fears, but I'm anything but blind. I'm in a trance, and there's evidence. I'm working on borrowed time. Throw that on the shelf.
Well, it was pretty clean. I mean, so it's not that bad. Good and dependable.
Don't want to go four-wheel driving with them or anything, but other than that, they're okay.
Well, what about that Isuzu Trooper? You know, sitting right there. It's got four-wheel drive.
If I was to get in a Isuzu Trooper, I would go way overboard with the four-wheel drive accessories, huge tires, and that type of thing.
I hear you.
There'd be more tires than truck after I got done with it.
Yeah. All right, what about the this Mazda 929? I'm not sure what it means, but
come on, Jay. You know my leg foot problem. I'd never be able to keep my foot out of the floor. I can't do a sports car. That's just asking for trouble.
Well, it's a luxury sedan.
A van.
Sedan.
Oh, sedan. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You know, nice four-door sedan.
Yeah.
Kevin's had a variety of jobs.
As far as jobs and things like that, very enthusiastic about getting jobs. A lot of times they don't work out very long. And the weird thing is, it's like really weird stuff that happens.
Just a list of things Kevin's tried in his life. He's tried to be a radio host on a radio program. He tried to be a baker. Thought about being a bus driver. He thought about becoming a personal trainer, a sniper for the military.
Well, let's see. He was a disc jockey for a while.
I heard he had a radio job. I heard that from him.
I understand that one of the radio stations had him doing some commercial work overnight.
If I remember right, I believe he had to broadcast a program that was going on.
He liked that job, and I think he would have really done very well.
While he was in the studio and having to switch over to commercials and be able to go back to what he was broadcasting, I guess there was an error somehow, and he failed to change it back. So there was a lot of dead air, and I hear he panicked quite a bit. There was a lot of frustration that day for him, but I guess he lost his job.
I think he did security guard for a while, and I think he liked that pretty well. And being a big guy, I'm sure he's pretty effective.
He was going to become a security patrolman, and they sent him out, and he was in his car, and he was all alone, and was getting shot at. And so he called for backup, and they had no backup. So he had to figure out how to get in his car and get out of that scene, to which then he went back and he decided that being a night watchman security kind of person wasn't really what he wanted to do with his life, since he valued his life.
Another time, he was a delivery truck driver for a bakery.
Apparently one day, there was a rather erratic driver driving through the parking lot.
This woman cuts him off and pushes him off the side of the road. He goes over and hits the curb, blows 2 tires on his bakery truck.
I guess he got fired.
I remember during this thing that he had several different jobs. He was always, things were going wrong and he'd lose his job, and the twists on these jobs were normally hilarious.
There's this one time he was selling vacuum cleaners.
He came in and he said that if he sold enough of these, he could either go to Puerto Rico or Walla Walla. And he told my wife that, and she laughed for 2 weeks.
He was packed in this van full of people, and the air conditioner was out. It was probably 105 or so in Yakima.
As the day went on, after no break, not getting a lot of fluids in, he went in to try to make his first big sell.
They show up to this woman's house and say, "Hey, can we come in and vacuum your rug?" And they're like, she's like, "Oh, okay." And the carpet is brand new, right? I mean, she's just put it in maybe like 3 weeks before. They could still smell the carpet glue. They go in. Well, Kevin's been hot and overheated and in a suit with like 3 or 4 other people similarly dressed.
He went in there and he was demonstrating the qualities of brand X.
Suddenly he's got this wave of nausea hitting him because he's in an air-conditioned house now after being out in this van.
While doing this, he
vomits all over the carpet. And of course the woman freaks out.
Fortunately, Kevin had his carpet cleaner on hand and was able to clean her carpet, and that in itself should have been proof that this was a good product.
Now to me, I think that this proves that Kevin's a flippin' genius. I mean, he found a way to show the woman who already had a clean rug how good it could be on a very nasty stain. I would have promoted him. I mean, right there, be honest with you, straight up, that's genius.
Kevin still got fired, and she got a free vacuum cleaner.
None of these things that happened to him are exactly the normal conceptualizations of what most people get fired for. But, like I say, Kevin has a special ability.
Jobs in Yakima have been a huge failure for Kevin. I think that it's not been his forte, any job in Yakima so far.
Kevin, like I say, I don't think anybody tries harder, but it seems like little things go wrong and he gets setbacks, but again, he comes right back.
Good afternoon, Mr. Buckley. How are you doing?
Doing fine, Kevin. I appreciate you coming in today for this 4:30 appointment. It kind of took me by surprise. Your voice sounds normal and you've got a smiling face on, but I've never done an interview quite like this. I guess I should congratulate you on your ingenuity.
This is definitely the strangest interview I've ever had. I've interviewed people on the telephone before, and I've interviewed people in person before, but I've never had a person in front of me that resembled the person I was talking to, but was not really the person I was talking to. It was very strange.
Buckley & Company Insurance, as you may know, is a full-service insurance agency. And we really have 2 different positions available, Kevin.
There were 2 jobs that I was interviewing him for. The one position was a telemarketing position. I would definitely think that I could hire him for that because he had the kind of personality that came through well on the telephone. However, the other position was a in-home sales position or in our office sales position where he would be face-to-face with potential customers trying to sell them auto and homeowners insurance. And without him there in front of me where I can see what his appearance is and his gestures and his body language, it would be very difficult to determine whether he would be successful in that particular job. I think the interview went well. I felt like I got a feel for what Kevin looks like and certainly a feel for his personality as a result of being able to talk live with him.
Kevin, you definitely have some of the qualifications we're looking for. Let's do this. Let me consider your application here and your resume and our conversation. I appreciate you taking the time, and we'll be in touch. Thanks, Kevin.
Well, thank you, Mr. Buckley, and thank you for your time, and you have a good evening.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, believe it or not, I met this gal in Nicholasville.
Really?
And yeah, I went to this Kentucky chat room. It was just like it was anyway from the Wilmore, Nicholasville area, and she was like, I am, so we talked for ever and ever and ever.
Okay, well, Kevin, now will she go out with the virtual Kevin?
I doubt it because she's I believe in her late 40s, and I think she has like 3 kids, and she's married.
What's it matter if she's divorced? Then she may be willing to go out with you.
She's married.
She's married?
Yes.
You're an idiot.
He's got some mad skills with women. Like, he manages to pick up women who most people would not necessarily think Kevin would have a shot with. Like I say, can't really explain it, just kind of his vibe. Doesn't always work out well.
There was this girl in our group, our cadre group, that Kevin kind of had a crush on. He wouldn't tell anybody else except for Jeremy and I, and we probably spent 3 or 4 years with this gal, just going out and doing things.
I've been hanging out with Leah off and on with the cadre for about maybe 3-4 years, possibly 5 years.
Kevin was very attracted to Leah. I remember him talking about her a lot behind her back.
I was just smitten with this young woman. I was just like, man, that'd be so cool, just to go out on a date with her, even just to go to a movie, maybe grab a bite to eat afterward. And so I was presented with the idea, well, why don't you just go up and ask her? The worst that she can do is say no, and, you have absolutely nothing to lose. And so I was just like, yeah.
But he could never muster up the courage to come out and tell her, what he thought about her or ask her out on a date.
And I started bringing up a bunch of lame excuses for my fact that I was just a big wuss and I couldn't go through with it. So that's the Leah thing. And even to this day, if I see her, I still kind of raise my eyebrows at her because I still think she's a nice looking gal. Internet romances don't work.
I started talking to this girl online, Tracy from Australia, and Jeremy got into talking to her. So she was planning on visiting America to meet this guy that she had met online, and they were going to start dating and fall in love. And so she showed up at his house, and he basically sent her on a bus the next day. So she ended up in Yakima for a summer. And I remember Kevin following her around for 6 months straight, like a sick little puppy, doing everything he can for her. I think he was trying to marry her and maybe move off to Australia or something like that, where nobody had ever heard of him or his family or anything like that.
There's one time I met a girl online. She lived over in Western Washington, and that was like the first time I'd ever seen anybody from Western Washington on the internet. So I was like, oh, okay, this is going to work out. I know it's going to work out. This is going to be fun, So we talked for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I talked my friend Jeremy into borrowing his mom's car and driving over there to a neutral location so we could meet each other. And I just thought she was going to be there with a couple of friends, and she brought her whole family. She even had aunts and uncles and cousins on post at different stores in the shopping center to spy on us. It's just like I wouldn't get any wise ideas of like maybe trying to steal a kiss or steal like a clasp of hands or something like that. They were very, very leery about this guy that just popped up online and who was smitten by their daughter and everything. So I was severely outnumbered. It wasn't fair. It was like walking into an ambush. It was bad.
Well, Kevin moved to Indiana to meet some girl that he had met online.
Indiana women should have a disclaimer tagged to their shirt that says we can go off on you at any given time and that we're nuts.
I believe he lived with her at her parents' house. So he had chores to do, a bedtime.
The girl that I met in Indiana was just, oh man.
Couldn't really be in the same room with her.
I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, I forgot I wasn't thinking. Yeah.
One girl he was engaged to broke up with him, then a month later married somebody else, and then got beaten up, and then showed up at his house afterwards to try to get him to help her out, and it was a cluster. But all in all, it's yeah.
I would definitely say that girls in Yakima and Kevin don't mix. They have not meshed well.
Well, the simple fact is, he doesn't have a real good understanding of how women in Yakima work. I think that pretty much we can learn from that.
I'll take 'em dancing now, won't that be sweet?
I think that moving to Kentucky and dating a young lady would be very good for me. And possibly her too, I don't know. We'd have to ask her that later.
His understanding works better in Kentucky. I don't know why. He just kind of gels better with women. Like he can go out, meet a girl, be going out on a date with her, things like that, very quickly, and I think that's pretty cool.
My biggest dream is to find a nice little southern girl whether they be from Kentucky, Tennessee, or even further south, and just start my own little family down there and live life to where I can have God show me and lead me where to go and be in His will. There's a couple of ladies down in Kentucky that I have the possibility of going out on a couple dates with. I first met Bethany probably about 4 years ago. Let's see here. She flew up from Kentucky to Washington for a weekend, which happened to be Valentine's Day, and because her and her boyfriend broke up, she was like really bummed out and everything. So I really didn't get to see a lot of bright qualities about her at that time. But whenever I lived in Kentucky, I did get to meet her a few times, and she was a lot more cheerful and happy and that type of thing. And I think Bethany's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind going out with her.
Ignore the fact that my head is abnormally small. You'll be doing fine.
Yeah, we sent him photos and whatnot.
It looks like that they cut me out of a South Park cartoon or something. It's kind of funny.
Your head would be bigger. So yes, I went out with the virtual Kevin. We got along pretty well despite some technical difficulties.
Boy, that telephone date with Bethany the other night. My gosh, what a train wreck.
Kevin?
There was a bunch of side input that was like really making me confused because I heard like 100 different voices and like massive interference.
There was no cell phone reception, and so the sound was not good.
But other than that, it was okay.
Tell her some hilarious and embarrassing story.
An hilarious, cute story.
An embarrassing story, Kevin. Come on, something.
Okay, story about Sam Zinser. This is what I can come up with on the spur of the moment. Okay, there's one night, had a really rough night at work, come home, right? Go to bed, 3 o'clock in the morning, I smell something burning, okay? And I didn't know if it was electrical, I didn't know what it was, so I got up to investigate. And there Sam was, in his underwear, making a homemade French fries. and he was using this, like, deep fat fryer, like, the grease had not been changed in who knows how long, and it, like, smelled like 5 or 6 McDonald's burning down in a little apartment, and I was just like going, oh my goodness, what are you doing, Sam? He's just like, oh, he says, I woke up with a craving for french fries, and I was just like, okay, do you know it's like 3 o'clock in the morning? He goes, yeah, I know, but the mood hit me, so I just decided to do something about it, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, who doesn't make french fries at 4 a.m.? That's like one of the most natural things to do. And so I don't see why he'd have a problem with that. That's one of the things that pissed me off about Kevin, is because he didn't make french fries at 4 a.m. And I could really use the help, need somebody to hold the potato while you cut it.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the date with Bethany was pretty cool.
Well, I wouldn't really necessarily call it a date. We sort of hung out. I would have to say that it was more friendship than a love connection.
Going out? He's a good boy. He would go out with any.
My ideal date would be going to a nice restaurant.
Probably a steakhouse.
Joe's Crab Shack.
I believe it involves him having a Hummer.
A full-size truck.
Limo. Duh.
And picking up a girl. Yeah, definitely has to be a girl.
Making the menu totally available to my date, whatever she wanted.
She would pay for dinner.
She gets a salad, of course, maybe with a couple shrimp on it.
I think his favorite meal is steak. He likes it, well done and raw. I don't understand how that works out, but apparently that would work out well for him.
They start talking, he makes her laugh, and he starts to laugh, and then waitress comes over, and he starts to make friends with the waiter or waitress.
We would go to an after-dinner activity of her choice.
He would really like the idea of just taking her to a rodeo.
A relaxing conversation.
Whether it be to the theater to see a movie.
She would pay for the movie.
Or to our Capitol Theater here to see a play.
And I think if it turned out that she was actually one of the riders at the rodeo, and she had to take a moment, go change into chaps, and go ride a bronco, and then come back to the date, I think he would be about that.
Or if it'd be just a nice walk in the park after dinner, get to know each other a little bit better.
Riding horses in the moonlight. I think that would definitely just kind of finish his date off.
I just see it as a relaxing time where two people getting to know each other.
And I would take her to her house and drop her off and give her a good night hug and try to outrun the buckshot that her dad would be shooting at me as I left. That would be my ideal date. The other lady that I'm also interested in, her name's Jessie.
My name is Jessica Parker, and I'm a senior in college.
From what I understand, she's a cowgirl. She rides horses. She drives a really awesome truck, which I discovered whenever I lived down there. And girls in trucks just are awesome.
I've done a little bit of modeling work. I'd like to do some more because it's kind of easy.
If you can't tell, I find her very attractive. My friend emailed me a picture of her, and holy moly, she is gorgeous, dude.
Wake up, Jesse, there's water on the levee. Wake up, Jesse, it's a pouring down rain. Wake up, Jesse, there's water on the levee, and I thought I heard him calling my name. Wake up, Jesse, there's water on the levee. Let's take a little walk in the rain.
So how's it going?
All right. How's it
Cool.
going?
It's going pretty good. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
This is probably the most bizarre date I've ever been on, and I've been on some weird ones. He seems interesting, except when he's talking about work.
I'm the head of garden center and fencing lot, so I have 2 departments I'm in charge of, and that keeps me pretty busy, so there's not really a lot of time for spare things, you know?
There was no, like, awkward, oh God, is he going to try to kiss me at the end, and what if he finds out where I live, kind of thing. So that was kind of cool. At least he had interesting questions.
If you could do just one thing in your life, it doesn't matter what it is, what would you do? If there's something that you're dying to do, what would you like to do?
No holds barred?
No holds barred, absolutely anything.
Time travel?
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. That's
I'd like to
cool.
visit, but not stay.
Oh yeah, most definitely. What would be the era? What would be the era of time travel that you would like to visit?
Oh God, there's a lot of them. The Old West would be one of them, definitely.
Oh yeah.
And maybe the Renaissance. And then
cool.
Probably Egypt's Golden Age. That would be pretty cool.
I would have to do the Renaissance era, medieval times Scotland or Ireland.
Yeah, that'd be cool, but I'm afraid I'd get my head chopped off. Like, they'd think I was a witch or something.
Oh, man.
I really liked the what animal would you be one. Because I've actually, thought about that. For a long time, I couldn't decide between being a horse and being, like, a hawk or something, because they can fly. And then I was like, a Pegasus, I could be a horse and fly. He had cool answers, and he actually seemed interested in what I had to say. Yeah, it'd be kind of fun. Why not?
When's my surprise date taking place?
Pretty shortly, because we're going to head straight back, and Jen's supposed to be there by now.
Okay, what question should I ask her?
Go with the stuff you had before and see how she flows with it, but be aware, throw in political questions.
Oh, man.
Brace yourself. Hi, I'm Jen. I am a social worker in northern Kentucky, but I live in Cincinnati, and I drove down to Lexington to be part of the Virtual Kevin Project.
You're doing too much. You're doing too much. My tone down. You're doing too much now. Now let me ask a question.
Hey, how's it going, Jen?
It's good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
My virtual date with Virtual Kevin went well. I had a very good time.
So, what have you been up to?
Working as usual, except I finally put some boundaries on things. I went to New York last week. I think it's great that Kevin wants to move to Lexington. He's thought about it for a while. He has a lot of people that he knows in Lexington, and he really seems to have a desire in his heart. Politically, don't necessarily agree. I'm pretty passionate in my beliefs, and he's a little more conservative than I am, and that could make for interesting and sometimes rocky conversation. So we'll see how that plays out if there's a future date.
I really like what Bush is doing now. As far as the war and everything that we're still trying to mop up. I do wish he would have had a little bit more definite plan of action of getting them out, because the June 30th date came and went of a positive pullout, but considering what he had to work with and what circumstances he was under, he did a fantastic job, in my opinion. And I also like the fact that that we did get Saddam Hussein.
I have to give him some credit. Yeah, he has some gusto, going back and forth. Even though we come from different political backgrounds, he hung in there. Not to get too into it, but Iraq has the second largest oil reserve on the planet. And I think it had a little bit more to do with securing oil than it did freeing a country, because if it has to do with freeing a country, then we would do something about the Christians that are being slaughtered in the Sudan. We're not doing anything about that, but then they don't necessarily have the resources that we want. Like I said, he did go point to point. He seemed to have a command of the issues and was able to articulate that. I can't necessarily say that he changed my mind, but he was very respectful, which can be rare for discussions about politics. I was impressed by some of his music selection. If you could see any 3 bands or solo artists, living or dead, anybody, in your own all-day concert, who would you want to see?
Okay, Grateful Dead would be number 1.
Really?
Yeah, because I heard that they put on like a hell of a show way back in the day. Yeah. Dave Matthews. Most definitely Jimmy Buffett. Let's see.
You can only see 3. Living or dead. You can only see 3.
Only pick 3?
Yeah.
Oh crap!
I know, it's a tough question. Now, the Grateful Dead, I was really impressed with that. I wasn't expecting it. And the Ferris Bueller's Day Off, most excellent, being a child of the 80s.
If I could have a shrine built to Ferris Bueller, I would have one built. And like, the Ferris Bueller movie is just everything I'd want to do in one day. That would be it. I'd love to go downtown Chicago, do everything they did. That would be pretty cool.
Including singing in the parade?
What was that?
Including singing in the parade?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
When we talked about the float scene, I thought that was neat. I think he would actually do that if given the chance.
If you can read my lips, you'll get the gist of what I have to say.
Kevin, one kind bit of advice for future dates, whether it be with myself or someone else. Not always good to bring up another girl. When we were talking about why you moved to Indiana, you had mentioned that you moved for a girl. Oh, what were you doing there?
Well, oh man, there was a girl that was.
Oh, that messed up.
Yeah. I did one of those bonehead moves.
Okay. I tried to give you an out, and then you proceeded to tell me the entire story.
There was a girl that went to Asbury.
You just should have left it at, I moved for a girl. Frankly, the stories are all the same, and you're on a date with me, not some girl that you moved to Indiana for. I had a really good time. It was a great experience. I think it's important to have experiences like this that grow you and stretch you, and that's what makes life fun. I definitely go out with Kevin again. As a friend, there weren't necessarily any sparks, but he seems like he's a great person. Would definitely enjoy spending time with him, but I think there's some fundamental differences, but he seems like a sweetheart.
I'd definitely say, female.
Unique woman. He likes the women.
Kevin does have a certain affinity for anyone who's female with a pulse.
My ideal woman would be strawberry blonde.
Blonde?
I believe he's very, very much a redhead person.
Green eyes. About 5'8".
6 foot tall.
Shorter than him.
I think I'd have to require her to be a joker.
Someone who's got a good sense of humor.
A variety of personalities.
She'd have to be very heavily into humor combat, like the Battle of the Wits type thing.
Very talkative, very opinionated.
She'd have to be proportioned.
Preferably little body hair.
And she'd have to have cute toes. I love toes for some reason.
I really think Cowgirl is Kevin's ideal woman.
These girls who, look great when they go out, for a nice evening, and the next day they can be on a horse.
Someone who definitely is into the country scene, drives a truck, rides horses, that sort of thing.
It's your typical Kentucky girl.
She'd have to have goals that she'd want to accomplish.
Now she's got to be a strong woman.
Not very judgmental.
She'd have to be employed.
But strong, solid career.
Whether it be at a clothing store or like in an office, someplace good,
Steady source of income.
Endowed would be nice.
Heavily endowed.
A busty blonde wearing a low-cut red shirt.
That'd be my ideal woman. Monica. I got to know her a little bit whenever I lived down in Kentucky for the first time. She was a very, very attractive little gal, but she had a problem of wearing camouflage and covering everything up. I got to know her a little bit better, and I think some of the like barriers and stuff started to lower a little bit as I got to know her, and I think she's a sweetheart. I still don't know her that well yet, but I hope to get to know her.
It was an interesting date. Obviously, it's not like any other date I've ever been on.
So how's it going, Monica?
It's going pretty good.
That's good.
I suppose.
I'd like to thank you for playing along with our little game here that we're doing.
Well, it's interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, what have you been up to?
I've been in school.
It's, it's a little more than just talking to someone on the phone, but it's, not like you're actually meeting someone in person. So it was a little bit, it was interesting. But it was really kind of cool.
What's your favorite type of music?
It kind of depends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I go through phases where I listen to one band or one song or whatever. I think right now I found some songs from the Queen of the Damned soundtrack.
Right.
I've been listening to those constantly.
He seemed really nice. He really seemed to have some good questions. Like, he'd really kind of thought through questions. He wasn't just asking, what is your favorite food and what is your favorite color and what school do you go to kind of questions. He's really kind of thought about some really interesting and insightful questions.
What would you say is your best feature?
Best feature?
Yeah, what is your best feature that,
Probably my creativity and imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Helps a lot being an artist to be very creative.
Most definitely.
Probably one of the questions that I think was not something I've ever heard before. If it was,
if you could do just one thing with your life, what would it be?
And that was a very unique question. It wasn't something I'd ever heard anybody ask.
Man, I don't know. Just one thing?
Yeah, one thing that sticks out in your mind that you'd absolutely love to do.
One thing. Like any one thing.
Yeah, anything.
Anything. If I could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to scuba dive with sharks. And
Whoa,
not just any sharks, but like great white sharks.
Cool.
I would have to say probably when we kind of started talking about travels and trips and stuff, and I brought up Israel, and he really seemed to really get real excited about that. And it was also something that really excites me, and so we kind of just started talking about that.
How long ago were you in Israel?
I was a freshman in high school.
Oh, okay.
So that would have been maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I think. I don't know.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah. Israel would be a place I'd love to go to.
Oh, it's so cool. It is so cool. I really want to go back there.
I'd like to go to Jerusalem, do like all the tourist stuff too. But then, kind of like just take off, break away, and just go do some exploring, some quiet time, some soul searching, that type of thing. And as far as a trip destination, Israel would be the place that I'd also like to go to. I've always had not to mention it's the homeland of our Savior, There's just a whole different culture that I could really get into.
It was really interesting because I will talk for hours about Israel and everything, and it's cool to, you know, find someone that you can talk about that. Yes, I would. I would go out with him again.
Yes. Because there's a lot of busty blondes in Kentucky? No? I've seen some. I saw a couple just a little while ago.
I definitely think Kevin should move to Kentucky. I think he has a lot to offer Kentucky. You know, when you decide to move someplace instead of just living there by default, I think you appreciate the place more. You're more prone to get involved and to contribute. I think Kevin has a lot to offer, and it would just be great to see Kevin in Kentucky, and hopefully we'll see him here real soon.
I think Kevin's been in Washington and in Tieton too long. He needs to get out and experience new things, and no offense to Kevin, but be able to grow up and be the man that he truly is without being under his parents' wings.
I think Kevin should move to Kentucky because it's important to have goals, and when you've had several goals in the past that have not quite worked out, you should have one that's more feasible and that can happen and that can make you happy.
I understand that Kevin has found a church home here. He has friends here, and I think that overall he would be happier in Lexington than he is in Yakima, Washington. And so yes, I do think that Kevin should move to Kentucky.
One thing in Kentucky, he feels accepted, he feels his own person. He found people that didn't judge him by his appearance, by anything other than who he is.
I've seen Kevin in Washington and in Kentucky. In Washington, nothing quite worked out like he had planned or he had hoped to. But in Kentucky, he was always happy, even when things didn't work out for him.
Well, I haven't known Kevin that long, but I think he should move to Kentucky.
He's been here a long time, and if he's going to find some great secret here, he should have found it by now. Where Kentucky could have a lot of opportunities maybe that he isn't getting here. So I think I'd definitely vote for him going, yeah.
His body is in Yakima, but his heart is in Kentucky. And so I think he needs to have all of himself put together, have his heart and his body in the same place.
I think Kevin's good for Kentucky.
I want to move to Kentucky because I love it there. I lived there for 14 months, and it was a part of me that I was probably born with that I didn't actually, that I never experienced until I actually moved down there. And it was a part of me that was in my soul that was released once I got down there. So I want to get back.
Good luck, and when you come back down here, I will go out with you again.
I felt homesick about 5 minutes into it because I wanted to go back. I teared up. I'm a big guy. I'm a big brute. I'm strong. If you was to hide out at work with a camera, you'd see me hauling fences around and all this other stuff. But there's a soft side, and I was really getting teary-eyed and choked up whenever I was watching it because they were my friends, and they're like, when's he going to come back down? When's he going to do this? When's he going to do that?
Don't try and tell me that my dreams won't come true just because yours wouldn't follow you. I want it, I need it, and I'm willing to put up a fight. Wishing on a star won't get you far. I guess it boils down to who you don't tell me that I'm just gonna be nothing. I'm the one who knows my place when I wake up every morning. So don't tell me I should just throw the towel in. I don't dream this big just to let you tear me down. They seem to all gonna be nothing. I'm the one who knows my place when I wake up every morning. So don't tell me I should just throw the towel